Hey everyone, it's Richard Metal Fan here, bringing you guys a brand new 2020 album review. And today we're going to be looking into the new album from the band Buried Tomorrow, entitled Cannibal, which was released today through Music of Nation Records. Excuse me. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Buried Tomorrow, they're a metalcore band based out of Southampton, England, in the UK, and these guys have been around since 2006. And I discovered Buried Tomorrow about a couple years ago. And I don't know, somebody was like checking them out or posted something about it, and I listened to a song or two from them, and I really dug what I heard, and I went and checked out all their other stuff. And these guys have been putting out their albums since their debut album, which came out in 2009, Portraits, which I thought was a solid album. But I feel like with every album that Buried Tomorrow has done, I feel like they've just progressed in their sound while retaining sort of like just the metalcore style that they're pretty much known for. But you could definitely tell with each album they've evolved, even from like Union of Crowns in 2012, 2014's Runes, and then 2016's Earthbound. But I feel like this band's sixth album, Cannibal, is the follow-up to their previous album, which in 2018, which was Black Flame, which I thought was a really good album. I thought that was pretty much their best work to date. But this album, Cannibal, I think it's pretty good. Like, I feel like, I just don't know. I feel like, in my opinion, Buried Tomorrow is one of the most, I wouldn't say underrated, but the metalcore bands, or just I feel like the whole like UK metalcore scene in general is great, with bands such as like Buried Tomorrow, Ocean's 8 Alaska, While She Sleeps, bands like that. I just feel like they just do it so well. But just this Buried Tomorrow is just really great. I think these guys just deserve more recognition. Just the one thing, this production on this album is just great. Like everything, like similar to Black Flame, I just think it's just really great. The vocal work is really tight. Daniel Winter Bates, like his harsh vocals and just his growls and screams I feel like are a lot more powerful and heavier. You could definitely tell like the screaming also adds sort of like emotion with, as well as just the singing on here. And then the clean vocals from Jason Cameron, their guitarist. His clean vocals really just shine on here. He could definitely tell he puts a lot of like soul into his voice, and I feel like between Jason and Daniel's voices, they just really complement on here. And the guitar work on this album is tight, from Jason Cameron and Christian Dawson. Just like the riffs that Jason comes up with is great, and just the leads that Christian has done is just amazing. The bass wise it's definitely hear it a little bit in the mix. David I think stepped it up a bit on here. And drumming wise, Adam Jackson, the drumming, he pretty much keeps a really great pace and a great beat with this album. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive into this album track by track. Now, starting things off is Choke, which starts off with just a really short intro, but then adding then sort of like the harsh vocals. And then I was expecting a little bit more of like a progressive start with here, and then I just love the melodies, sort of like the meeting the aggression. Then the vocals are really just great, brilliantly, and the harmonies fit perfectly. And then moving on to the title track of the album, Cannibal, which has a little bit more of a progressive start than what I thought. And I feel like the pace on here is kind of gone, but not entirely. But you definitely can notice it. And the vocals are more aggressive, but they remain easy to follow. And the vocals go clean, and with the song sort of slows down, but only briefly, as then the harsh section returns. It's kind of like very tipsy-turvy. But overall, the pace is strong, which it's not thrash, but it's solid enough. But I kind of wish it would have kept up a bit. And then we go on to the next song on the album, which is called The Gray, which I believe was the first single released pretty much in November of last year. And this picks up again, and I feel like the song is follows kind of similar to the first song, Choke, but it's just with the clean vocals sort of slowing things down one more, and then the melody sort of like match the pace from the Cannibal, but a little bit slower in here. Impostor, which I feel like this pretty much where it picks up a bit, and it has more of an aggressive approach to it. But it doesn't last as long as when the clean vocals kick in, and then the harsh vocals seem to unleash just more life into the song just every time, which I don't know. It's just like, I just think the vocal section in general is pretty solid. Moving on to Better Below, which kind of like goes into like a more modern metal pace, and just the harsh vocals are met with sort of like a lack of tempo and pace, but they sort of build up the aggression. But the melodies, I feel like on this track, just don't go into full power, and I feel like this kind of is like a ballad kind of like song. It has more atmosphere and just atmosphere to it. Moving on to the agonist, which has a lot more of aggressive start in just like the vocals and the melody, and the pace is pretty much set really high, and then the clean vocals come in and just sort of like take the pace right out, and this change is only brief before reverting to the aggressiveness. And I just feel like that this mentality sort of like makes sort of like the melodies run smoother and more effective. Moving on to the next song on the album, which is called Quake, which has a little bit of an acoustic approach, and then the pace sort of like picks up and it builds towards sort of like explosive, like harsh vocals in here. It's I don't know, this song is just a pretty interesting song. Let's just leave it at that. Moving on to Gods and Machines, which has a bit more of an aggressive side to it, even with the clean vocals are more raw and powerful, and the melodies are good. The Voice and Truth, I feel like the tempo on this track is just really high up there, and this time sort of like the clean vocals are really good as well, and there's some insane like technical guitars on here, and then the clean vocals do slow it down a little bit, but I feel like it adds sort of like a new set of instrumental melody, which is a pretty good change, and it's a very good song. Cold Sleep, which is has a very kind of like fast-paced start on here, and I feel like the aggression for these guys just goes so much in here, and the pace does drop slightly before it just goes, I don't know, just like something like what we would hear from your first couple records. It's a good song. And then the album closes with Dark Infinite, which has there's no instant slowdown that we've heard on here, and the clean vocals do slow things down a bit, but I feel like the harsh vocals just pump life back into the song, and then the vocals change a few times, which still keeps things the same, and then do a breakdown, but which kind of kills the tempo, but it's not well executed. But yeah, I don't know, it's just a little minor setback. But anyway, now overall, Cannibal by Bury Tomorrow is another solid album, but I think it's pretty good. But I honestly thought that Black Flame, their previous album, was better, but this album is definitely a pretty good as well. So if I were to give this album a score, I'm going to give Cannibal by Bury Tomorrow a solid 8 out of 10. So yeah, that's my review of Bury Tomorrow, guys. I really would love to see them, hope to come and tour in the US. They haven't been here in a decade, and I think it's time that they come back. So yeah, that's my review of the new Bury Tomorrow, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the album, and I'll see you all in the next video. And as always, keep it metal.